to do our hards and joys today, but we are going to kick you guys out of here after that because last week you guys got to stay and hang with us. So we'll make it at least a monthly thing to continue on the live and just vibe with you. But this is a podcast, and we are doing our best to drive eyes to both TikTok and our actual podcast. And we would love the attention over there. So please share it, check it out, ask your question, and go catch up with it. But also be thinking, because I'm about to ask you what your hard and what your joy was and is from this past week. So while we're all doing that, love, what's your hard?
Oh, I think my hard is what we talked about yesterday, how like I will always have a anxious brain to some extent.
Yeah.
I've worked really hard to undo my social anxiety and to figure out strategies to be able to function while being anxious. Like, I don't know if I'll ever get rid of my social anxiety, but like I've lessened it, and I have a lot of strategies around like you can be anxious, but you still have to go do the thing. And that only ever gets easier by being anxious and doing the thing and then realizing nobody died, and then you can do it again next time. But Ethan brought up to me yesterday, because I was having an anxious moment about us hosting some people next week. And I get really frustrated when I get anxious because I really want to just be cool and chill and be like, yeah, nothing's a big deal. And I'm fine with people in my house and no worries about people being in our space. And it's not even that I don't want people in our space. I just think of like every possible second of the entire thing. And I feel like I have to have a game plan and be prepared. And what if this happens? And what if I feel that way? And my anxious brain still Rolodexes like everything to be like, what's your escape plan? And what if you don't want to do this? And what if that happens? And whatever, where are people going to sleep? And like things that just like really don't matter. But my brain is like, well, we must solve all the world's problems about this specific thing right now. And I get really frustrated because I want to just be cool and chill and be like, people are coming over. Great. No further questions. And that's just like not my brain. And I think that's hard to know, that there will always be a piece of my brain that's like, yeah, but what about this? And as much as I would love to just be like, cool, great, let's do it, I don't know if I'll ever get there. And that's really frustrating because I have a partner that is like far more people-y than me and far more like cool and chill with those things. Like your brain doesn't really Rolodex every problem that could possibly occur.
Yes, it does. But you finished saying your piece because
I was going to say like, but you like will deal with it if it happens, where I'm like, I have to deal with it now, even if it doesn't happen.
But I used to be like that, like especially with trauma and autism and everything else. I came from a space and lived in a space of trying to get ahead of the problem. And so like, if I could suss it all out, it wouldn't be a problem because I could be ready for it. But trying to deal with it all now was the problem, because I can't. No matter how much energy I burn into trying to control and make it the best outcome, something always happens. So I'm wasting so much energy over here in the I have none left to deal with it when it happens. So then I stopped. I mean, this is going to happen. I have no actual control over anything that happens before. I can set every expectation. I can set every boundary. I can do all the things, and it'll still not go that way. So instead of putting all my eggs in one basket, nope, don't get distracted. It became, well, I can only prepare myself for this thing. And if I don't have the energy to deal with that, perhaps things go left, then it's going to go left more. I need to be able to have something in my tank. So it's, like I said to you, it's the evolution of realizing that I only have so much energy to deal. And currently trying to be proactive is taking away from my ability to enjoy and then deal if I have to be reactive.
Because my brain still defaults to like, well, if all these things could be uncomfortable or go wrong is such an aggressive, like,
yeah.
My brain views it as, what if it's not fun? And very much views it as like, what if these things go wrong and somebody's uncomfortable? And then my brain still defaults to like, well, maybe I should just not be there then. But like, that's not the solution.
No, and it's not It's not. It's just like a go-to knee jerk because that's the only solution our survival instinct.
It feels
Suss
easier
out,
to
yeah.
be like, well, if I'm not there, I don't have to deal with any of it.
Yeah, but and that's everybody's. Like eventually, most of us will go to like, well, I'm the problem, so I can go. But that's not actually the problem. The issue is that you still think that you have control over the fact that you're going to have this issue. Like we talked about this a little bit yesterday when it came up. Like, yeah, you're right. You're anxious. I know this when I tell you that you're going to be anxious, whether it's we're going somewhere or people are coming here, you're going to be anxious. I know that about you. But then why does it feel like you don't know that about you? Because it should be it now. Yeah, I'm anxious. I'm a recovering, not ing, socially anxious human, like really fucked up social anxiety. But people think that that means outside of your home, social is the anxious part. So people coming into our space is social. So you're going to have the same thought process as going somewhere where there's people, but you're in your safe space. So this should be the easier part, except for it's not because it's extra tough in your brain because this should be the safe space for me as much as it's for the safe space for people and for Ethan as people. And because I'm juggling that, then I have to be the common denominator that goes. But people are specifically coming here because of the space we've created and hold for them. And that's the piece that anxiety won't let you hear is that people, the social part of the anxious is here to be social with you. Even in your home. When we go out, we pick our little group in our corner and we do the same thing, but it's very, very similar. Understanding that you're always going to have to, the same way someone like me always sees stuff through the trauma lens. I always will have to process things. Even you, I process you through that lens. When you're not doing anything wrong, but I see you as an enemy or put you in the crosshairs, even you have to take a minute and go, this isn't actually, remember, this is, okay, not me, someone else. It's his process. Give him a second. That's why I say a thing and what do you need? No, nothing. Because I know where you're going and I'm going to try to give you every out. But then if you're not going to talk to me, I'm just going to go. And I come back and wait for you to say the thing to me because I know where you're going. But I love you. I need you to get there faster because you know that it's coming. You're not 20-year-old you that bought a car and got looped into that shit. You're 28-year-old you who wants something more functional. You have the skills present and the ability to move through the anxiety. You've done so much work on that. But it's the initial impact of the thing that sets you. Most people, we're currently talking about you, but most of us off course is that, I've run into this, what I think is a wall. It's just like a plastic barrier. They're you can just go through them. But we see it as this thing that holds us, but no, it's not actually real anymore. The wall's been deconstructed by all the work we've done. Now it's just a thing. Go through it. On the other side of that is the fun you are hoping it is for everybody else.
Yeah, and I think that's like the funniest thing for my brain is I'm just like, well, it'll be fun for everyone else. So if I'm not there, it won't matter. Like that's our brains are crazy to just be like, if I'm not there, I don't have to deal with it and nobody has to deal with me. So problem solved. But like that's not actually the problem solved because now I'm just running away from things that make me anxious. And the only way I got over my social anxiety a little bit ever was because I showed up when I was anxious.
Mm-hmm. My heart is the holy fuck episode I'm coming out of. I think that 10 days long of whatever the fuck that was. My stomach is still really out of sorts, which is like the telltale sign of how bad the attack was and the episode was. So trying to navigate that is frustrating more than anything. Like I've had stomach issues since I can remember, and healing journey took them away for a little bit, but this shit's not linear, and so just to be in so much discomfort regularly right now is fucking annoying. But
we at least have tools and skills to like help a little bit this time.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It's just
I know
I can't eat food right now.
Yeah, like I know it doesn't solve the problem like it does on a more regulated day or time. And I had a day last week. I don't remember what day it was where I also couldn't eat anything, and that's just like so annoying because you default to your safe foods and it's still not right.
Yeah, so that was less fun. What about you over there on the live? What's your hard from the week? What has been difficult or challenging, annoying, frustrating, depressing for you this week?
You guys share your hearts while we do our joys. And then we'll revisit your hearts. I paid out my car loan last week. Feeling pretty cool about that. Feeling also like money is made up. But that's pretty standard for my thoughts lately. It's just like crazy that like numbers are in your bank account and then they go on a piece of paper and then all of a sudden you don't owe anyone those numbers that were in your bank account anymore. It just feels so like I don't even know what the right word for how I feel when I do things like that is. Like logically, and maybe this is like a tism thing, but logically I'm just like, no, but why do any of you think this makes sense? Like, why do any of you believe in this system? You just took numbers from a screen, wrote them on a piece of paper, handed it to me. I handed it to somebody else. And now all of a sudden I don't have this debt. Like, why do any of us believe in this? It like hurts my brain. And my dad, because my dad is very autistic. Every time I say money's not real lately, you'll like this. He keeps saying, well, it's literally not because they don't have enough. What's the thing you need to print money? Gold. My dad always is like, they don't even have enough gold. There's a second word that goes with it to print all the money that's in circulation. Like, there's more money in circulation than the world actually has.
Yeah.
So anytime I'm like, money's literally not real, my dad's like, no, but it isn't, because they don't even have like enough of this thing to account for all of the money that is in circulation. But yeah, the joy of money not being real is that I did pay off my car loan, and I don't think it'll really hit until Monday when my car payment doesn't pull. Because every second Monday I brace for impact in my bank account thinking I'm gonna like have no money, or typically I'm in overdraft because I forget to pay myself from my business account to my personal account. So I think on Monday when I go in there and nothing has moved, that will be the time it actually like settles.
Yeah. My joy. I mentioned it briefly earlier when we were just sitting here. I actually have a new partner, and that's exciting for me and for them, I'm assuming. But it's just nice to have been able to date this person and get out with them and experience them outside of the house as much as inside, and enjoy their company. They enjoy mine, and yeah, it's been a minute since I've had another partner, another person I want to spend genuine time with all the time. So that's kind of cool. It's nice to have another person. I guess I don't know how to say that without saying like it's cool that this life offers us the freedom to love people freely and to connect with them. It's fun to be going on dates. It's fun that Jill's going on dates again. It's actually really fun. I love when Jill gets to go on dates. So yeah, just a lot of in the relationship and connection world over here has been quite fun and quite enjoyable. Yeah.
That's exciting.
You just got back from Jamaica. Is that a joy or is that hard?
I think it's hard.
Like I feel terrible. I feel like that's a hard. Solid question, Ali. No, we date separately and together. Just depends on the person. We've said this many times. As much as we love dating solo, we are actively looking for a third to join our life and relationship and share in these spaces with us. And I say that way because we don't unicorn hunt. We don't sleep around like that. We're not an open relationship that's looking for a third that can never be a part of it. We want to share in life with a third person. So no, we do as much as we do this individually. Yep. Yes.
Nothing.
Did you just go back to the last time?
No, I just opened my TikTok, and it's been a really long time since I've like actually been growing on TikTok. And in the last like 3 weeks, I went from 270.9 thousand followers, which is crazy. But as of today, I'm at 271.4. That's like 5,000 followers.
Nice.
It's been a long time since I've like actually seen that number change. It's been going down more than up lately.
Speaking of following, if you're in here, give us a follow. Check out the podcast actual link. This will be up tonight. But hey, Jill, are you still doing dog walking on the side?
Yep.
Tara wishes she was still there, and that's valid.
Yeah, I just don't post about dog walking because there's nothing to post about. I'm just walking people's dogs.
Yeah, Ali, that's a we're noticing it too. Like a couple that we've been in have been very natural occurrences. People that were in our life. The first one didn't obviously go that well. The second one that we were in, the second triad, was a really beautiful experience. It was what made Jill and I realize, made me realize as an individual, Jill, and then us as a partnership that we want and have space for more love and more people, directly in our space and in our life that way. What made it hard was that person didn't live in this province, but yeah, finding it since then has been very difficult by way of energy more than anything. I think it's been most of the time people are looking to take a crack at either Jill or me and using the relationship as a way to get that, or they're just too new in their understanding of themselves in these spaces for us to feel comfortable and safe to pursue them directly. Yeah, that. Ali, that.
Do you want to talk about like triads and
Yeah, why don't we have that conversation? Triads. Let's talk about it. Well, let's more explain. You know what? Let's just do it. Triad. Let's talk about it.
Okay, first things first, we use triad over thruple. Do you have a reason? I just don't
Yeah,
like the word
throuple
thruple.
is very high schooly. It seems it's like boyfriend girlfriend ask for me. It seems really immature. Triad sounds solid. Triad seems intentional and firm, and I'm not sure how else to describe it, but like in my brain, a throuple is like this thing. It's bordering on unicorn. Um, a triad is like intention. Three people that see each other as let's share in life together. That's just me. That is how I view it. It's not any legality, just a technicality.
Yeah, I also just don't like the word thruple. Feels
It's like a
yucky in my
buzzword that,
mouth.
yeah. No, I got you. Um, but yeah, let's talk about it. Are we as individuals? I think knew early on that we wanted to be a part of a triad, as much as we wanted to be able. There's a blanket right there. As much as we, and you're funny. It, as much as we want and did and knew we were going to date other people as solos, we always knew that we wanted to be in a relationship with someone as three people, three entities.
Yeah, you and I had our conversations first, and then our first like exploration of poly was uh, a triad, but like not a successful one, which is why you always hear us talk about like the first one we were in versus like the one that like solidified it was a thing we wanted to do and have and pursue in our life.
Yeah, between those two things, it was a few months, and it was in between. Like, do we actually want a third person, and how many people we thought we wanted a third, or we knew we wanted a third, but we went through people doing all the toxic shit that we've talked about to you guys in the process. Unicorn hunting, that wasn't us. It wasn't our fault. People showing up, trying to have access to me through Jill, or to have access to us just to have an experience, or.
Yeah. So what I wanted to kind of chat about today was like the things we've kind of learned from triads, experience within it, and how we kind of navigate making sure we're entering into like safe ones moving forward.
Yeah.
I think we we learned a lot of like pretty hard lessons early.
Yeah, I would agree with that one.
Which is fine. There's a piece of me that is glad we learned those lessons early so that we had the kind of knowledge of like, oh no, this is a thing that people will do.
Yeah.
If you haven't gotten all of the context before the first triad that we were in, it like very quickly was obvious that the person that was doing it with both of us was only in it for Ethan. And that was not Ethan's doing, that was not my doing, that was that person's doing and intent and goal the whole time. And you can only hide your intent for so long. There was a lot of excuses when it came to like spending one-on-one time with me, being intimate with me. Like they defaulted to a lot of upfront valid reasons of like why it wasn't happening, and then at some point it just like you can only use excuses for so long.
Yeah.
And it was hard for both of us to navigate. It was hard for all three of us to navigate because it felt like there was a conversation that was happening and we were all on the same page. And then when things were like in practice, all of a sudden that wasn't a thing anymore. And that relationship ended in like some pretty big blowouts from like me, from Ethan, from them, just like a lot of frustration of like, why the fuck isn't this working? And ultimately ended in me going to them and being like, okay, I need you to answer this question like to my face. Like, is the only reason you were dating me so that you could also date Ethan? And they straight up were like, yeah, I just knew the only way I could be with Ethan was to be with both of you. And that's crazy. So it was like a really big lesson early that like, oh no, people will like actively use one of us as access to the other person. And then it was a few months of like not being interested in being in a triad because I just assumed everyone was the worst. But yeah, our second triad was like the one that confirmed that it can be functional and respectful and equal parts and all of the things. What are the biggest things you kind of look for, like if you were exploring a connection with somebody with the thought of like them being in a triad with us? What are the things you're looking for?
A lot of it is like how they talk about life and sharing it and being in community with people. Whether they're solo poly or not is a part of the conversation, but also like what they're looking for in connection is one of my most common questions. Not what are you looking for, because that's such a monogamous thing. Is a what are you hoping to receive from connecting with people in the way that you're trying to do it. So yeah, I think that I know that in the way that I ask questions, people kind of give me an hint if they're open to being in that triad style relationship or if they're just looking to be with me. I personally, as the male in this, date a lot of femmes and females, so it's always and they're all queer. I don't think I've dated a straight one yet. Can you think of one? No. So like the question is
No, nobody that's stuck around.
yeah. So the question is always like also like being in the queer community. Are you hoping to just date a single person? Are you open to being in a triad? Do you know that I have a partner? You know, things like that. If people have done their research on me, on us, on whatever, as people do for safety reasons, people do to know people before they go for coffee, whatever it is. So I think that the big one is looking for connecting with people to connect in these spaces. People that are open to being around my people. Not because that's like open to try it, because it just means they're open to just being around people, to which is what I am looking for. I want to be around my people. I want people to be in my space, in our space, as much as I want to be in theirs if they don't have cats. It's the whole reason for connecting is not always just intimacy as much as it is intimacy, because intimacy takes many forms, shapes, and sizes. Uh, yeah, I think for me, a red flag or a yellow flag is when people are standoffish about being around my people, Jill included, but like just in general. At like, well, what do you do in your free time? Like, I spend most of my time at home because going out's a lot. Like, I go for walks and I go to the Mutar and do that thing, but like hanging out's easiest at home because it's the safest place for me to be. Reservations about that mean it's probably not going to work up front. Not because you don't want to be in a tribe, but because if you don't want to be around my people, chances are I'm going to lose interest really quickly because I love my people.
Yeah, I think something I need. There's like a really cool thing that happens when there is another female involved, because I think the like female to female connection is something that is like very unique in just its dynamic. Um and then there's also like obviously male female connections have their own dynamic as well. But a big thing for me is people's ability to navigate both sides of that. Like, I need people to recognize that, like, you're dating a boy and a girl. And that sounds like silly up front, but like, I need you to know that, like, you cannot approach a relationship with me the same way you would approach a relationship with Ethan. And I need people to not assume we are the same. Like, a really hard thing for me in triads is when people like go through me to ask Ethan questions or ask Ethan things about me. Like, we are two.
Yeah, I get you now. I thought you were going this way, but thank you for confirming it. Yeah.
Like, I don't really know how to explain that differently, but people will be like, well, what's Ethan doing? I don't know. Ask Ethan. Like, we are two individual humans that you are dating individually, and then we all date each other together. And there's like different dynamics within that. When people just like loop me and Ethan together, I have a really hard time with that. And my biggest thing with navigating triads that I also learned early is I need people to be upfront. Like, our thing with navigating triads is like, it feels icky to us to be like, you must date us both. So we don't really approach it that way. But if you started a connection with me and now have interest in my partner, you got to tell me first. And that's not
hugely.
And that's not so I can be like, yes, approved, or no, denied. It's so that I know what the fuck is happening in my own house.
Yeah, because it comes off shady. It comes off like you intended to get at me only. When you, we talk about this all the time, the more you say, the more you're honest and vulnerable in your communication. Oh, listen, I will eat cake from between your ass cheeks if you just say it out loud. Like, there's nothing, almost nothing. I have a couple of full that is not off the table in the freakiest of freakies to the most simplest of intimacy. Say the fucking thing. I get it. I'm pretty great. When you get to know me, I'm pretty fucking awesome. But don't come at me and say I'm awesome if you haven't told Jill that you think I'm awesome.
Like, I think one specific I can remember is somebody was exploring a connection with me, was very much like, no, I only want female connection, whatever. Met Ethan a couple times. I didn't really think much of it because you're going to need to exist around my partner in some way. And then at some point, Ethan mentioned that they were messaging him. They were like, oh, she sent me this. And I was like, what? And his reaction instantly told me everything I needed to know, because he was like, you didn't know they were talking to me? And Ethan just assumed that I had been equally informed in the relationship I was in of what was happening. And I think it's funny when people don't think we're going to talk to each other. I just don't really understand what people's game plan is with that. But like, if you initiate a connection with one of us, you have to inform that person first. Hey, and it's literally as simple as, hey, I've been around you and Ethan a few times. I think Ethan's really cool. I think you're both really cool. I was curious if you would be interested in exploring a connection, all three of us, or if it's okay if I get to know Ethan a little bit more. Like, and again, not a permission thing, but just being like, oh, cool. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know, so that next time you walk in this house and show interest in both of us, I don't have to figure that out.
Yeah, and for the record, like, this is a part of this communicate and tell thing, and why we joke about Jill weaponizes me against other people, and I do the same about her. Have you seen her? It's just this. I don't get the warning that someone's now into me. I just get the message that, hey, I brought it up to Jill, and I do think you're actually kind of neat. It'd be cool to get to know you too. Neat. Everything else is off-putting. Every other way to get that message is off-putting, because it seems like you tried to go around my partner to get to me, even though if you just said that in the person in connection that you're in connection with made sure that they knew. It sounds like the safest way to go about anything when you're talking multiple energies, multiple people to care about.
And yeah, don't get me wrong, I don't want to sit here and be like, I'm the only one who's been done dirty. Like, it's gone the other way with Ethan having a connection with somebody. They stayed at our house, then all of a sudden they're talking to me, and I'm like, wait, did you talk to Ethan? Like, people just miss the inform everybody. piece of triad. So like something that I really look for is like your ability to say your shit out loud, and then your ability to communicate with both of us as individual humans as well. Like I don't want to have to
Weird.
look at my partner and be like, oh, you didn't know that, because now all of a sudden I'm the messenger for news that wasn't mine to share. Like
Say that again, because that's the best way that it's come out of either of us so far. Say that whole thing again.
now I'm the messenger for news that wasn't mine to share.
Yeah, that like it.
Like,
this
wait,
is
why
the
am
pro-
I
this
the
is-
one informing my partner about his connection change?
And while we're talking about like polyamory, this happens in monogamy all the time from so many standpoints. The shocker of feelings changed. The shocker of moods and energies changed when it could have just been said. But someone decided to. I just back to the book I'm just reading in communication. Like we treat silence or not sharing information to protect someone from the shit, but it always hits the fan. That was a fun analogy.
Well, and now like we're both looking at you, because now I just had to inform my partner of something and he had to inform me of something, and you know who's the only person left? You. And it's just like an instant like,
Yeah,
I'm good because you couldn't even communicate the most basic thing in a triad, so I'm good in exploring any further with you.
Well, and like this is the beauty of this communication is it also happens when we're in triad. Like the amount of stuff, there's always a conversation of like, how much do we share? Well, we share most things, but there's always a box that we agreed to. That there's no asking about what's in this box, because me and my partner have our own box. You and your partner have your own box. We have ours, and then we also have one as a triad. We have this thing where we understand that we all have a shared privacy in these connections because that's what being in connection is. She doesn't get all the information. I don't. The same way as Nicola and Jill would share all the information that they needed to about whatever the fuck they wanted to talk about. And I didn't get privy to half that conversation.
Well, and I also think like,
you know what I mean?
like,
you know what I mean? When
yeah.
you know what I'm driving? I'm trying to say this in a way like this is just this.
No, like
this is not the thing. This is the only example we have.
The easiest way I can explain it is like, me and Nicola are girls, and we would spend a lot of time on FaceTime. And I promise you, Ethan does not want a relay of everything we talked about on that FaceTime call, because he's not a girl. He's going to be like, how the fuck did you talk about that for 2 hours? Like, same way of like, in that specific dynamic, Ethan was both of our dominant. So there's conversations that are going to happen between the two of them. And it's not that I don't care. It's just like, I am not the dominant in this situation. Like, there's just topics that like make sense for these two people to have, these two people to have, and these two people to have. And there's topics that it makes sense for everybody to have collectively. But like, just as you date one person individually, like, you don't tell your friends every conversation you have with your other friends, because they don't give a fuck about the same things you and that friend do.
And the other part, the other side is that you tell your husband everything. Like, well, we don't keep secrets. It's like, that's bullshit. Everyone has a thing they don't tell their spouse. Everyone, no matter how good of a communicator you are, there is stuff that you don't. Not a single human being is capable of doing that.
Like, I tell Ethan a lot of things, but I'm also a girl that has friends that are girls that Ethan is going to be like, cool, thanks for telling me. And he'll listen because he's a loving, supportive partner. But
I'll listen. I don't always hear her.
He doesn't care. Like, he'll be like, cool, love, thanks for telling me. And then he deletes that information out of his brain. And similar, like, Ethan has things he tells me where I'm like, thank you for sharing. However, I do not need to log that information.
Sometimes, and my favorite part, and this is our communication skill, I'm not going to brag. There's times now, like we're 2 years in, where like we can suss out that the person's like, I don't actually want to hear this right now. I'm not going to keep this information. And so we're like,
never mind.
You know, all that to say, I had a good time. It's just like, fuck off, like, thanks, baby. And like, it's always a thanks. Like, I don't have to try to find the stories to delete that. You just know. Or there's times where like you see it happen, and there'll be a pause. Like, no, go for it. I'm here. And this word vomit happens, and we're both like, there we go. Thank you. I needed to get that out, knowing full well it was heard by nobody.
Yeah, and I think one of the coolest parts about triads is like there's so many dynamics. Like, there's everybody as individual partners, and then there's everybody as a collective. And like, I think that's a really cool and unique thing to have a vibe and an energy between 3 people at one time. And then also
Oh, the compersion,
individual.
just knowing that Jill's happy, Jill's taken care of, Jill's loved by someone that I love equally. It like there's I don't that can seldom put into words what it's like being upstairs and hearing them laugh and giggle together, hearing them just talking, knowing they're cuddling on the couch, knowing that.
One of my favorite things was always like, Ethan doesn't sleep at night. We know this. And he also stays up later than me. And one of my favorite things is when our partner would stay with us and I would be like, we're going to bed. And like the two of us would be like,
yeah. And like, it's not that it takes stress off me, but it's just like, it's always the person that I love is taken care of by another person I love. And that, like it's just, yeah, that those are the days I miss, the moments I miss, the ones that I crave and look forward to when they happen.
Yeah, I just think it's a really cool thing to be like if Ethan was busy or he was on a date or whatever, I would be like, oh, I need to go do this thing. But it's okay because Nicola will come with me. Like, it's just like gives so many more options for.
Yeah, Jill's hyper independence is failing her because now she's really like committed to this have a motherfucker around me shit. Like, it's so funny to because like, before this, before this, nope.
Well, and our partner was very much like, I'll just do life with you. Like, oh, you need to go to the grocery store, I'll come. Oh, you need to walk your dog, I'll come. And like, those are my favorite types of
Oh, you need
relationships.
space? Cool, I'm chilling down here with Ethan.
One time she was like, your room's way too fucking hot. I'm going to sleep downstairs. And we were like, okay.
Yeah, like it just is so. There's a freedom that polyamorous people talk about, and it's not to sleep around a date. Like there's a piece of it, but it's just this freedom to be and exist around more than like be seen
and exist the way you need to exist without like she could be like your room's because it was the summer and there's I don't know if you've ever slept with 3 people in a bed, sweaty even in the winter. But she one night just like looked at us, she was like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like I'm not sleeping in your room, it's way too hot up here, like I'm gonna go sleep downstairs. One of you, both of you is welcome to join, but like I'm not sleeping up here, see you in the morning. And without having to worry about like, are they mad at me, does it impact my relationship, blah 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 blah. It was just like,
yeah, love.
I'm gonna take care of me as an individual and I'll take care of you guys in the morning, goodbye.
Yeah, and like usually at some point at an ungodly hour because Nicola's a morning motherfucker, she'd come crawling back into bed. Like at 5:30 in the morning for like the last couple of hours, there would be our third would be back, and it was just yep.
One night Ethan slept downstairs with her and I literally slept like this in our king size bed. And Brian, our roommate, was like, are you okay? Like they're sleeping downstairs. Like, are you going to be okay? I said, literally don't bother me in this bed. I'm good. And I just think that's a really cool thing to just be like, my partner's taken care of without me having to be the one to do it. And I'm happy to do it. But just being able to like share the load in that way is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is our experience, our take, our desire with triads, with loving multiple people at one time. We really do love it, and we look forward to our next opportunity to share in life with somebody. As always, I am Ethan with Fight Me on This.
I'm Jill at CoachJill.April. You can find the podcast at Shifting the Lens Pod.
See, this is what happens when you rush. Sit the fuck back down.
You can find the podcast at Shifting the Lens Podcast everywhere, and we will catch you guys next time.
Fuck. Peace.